Hello everyone! Today we're making one of my favorite dishes in Indian cuisine, Palak Paneer. Hopefully it'll become one of yours too. For those who aren't familiar with this dish, it's a rich and thick spinach sauce with chunks of soft paneer cheese in it. Sorry, hold on a second. What's the matter? Alright. Okay. Alright, so it's actually not paneer, it's halloumi. He says they were out at the store. But you know what? That's no big deal. This recipe works for paneer, halloumi, heck, even tofu. And to be honest, I kind of prefer palak halloumi anyway. Now, let's get into it. So like I was saying, both paneer and this halloumi here are fresh cheeses with somewhat similar properties which makes them interchangeable. They both have a high melting point, meaning they won't just melt away into our sauce like other cheeses would. While they have some slight differences in texture and flavor, they both work really great in this dish. Another good substitution would be tofu, which also makes the dish vegan. It has a similar texture and fulfills the same role of our cheeses. I would highly recommend using a firmer variety of tofu though. Now the palak in palak paneer is spinach. This is just some English spinach, but you can use baby spinach or whatever variety you can find for pretty much the same results. Just make sure no matter what spinach you're using, you give it a thorough washing and drying. Spinach is often grown in sandy soil, and it has a tendency to carry a lot of that sand with it, so we definitely don't want that in our sauce. Next, we'll do some very minor prep, cutting up our vegetables. A rough chop will do just fine here. We're going to be cooking them down quite a bit and then blending them, so no need to worry about their size too much. Our next step is a bit more important, toasting our spices. To really get the flavor right in Indian cuisine, it's best to use whole spices. You can get away with ground, but it will just be missing that special something. We'll do this by simply tossing them in a dry, hot pan and moving them around a bit until they're aromatic. Alright, so this next step is specific to halloumi. If you're using paneer or tofu, you can skip this step. Technically, you can skip it with halloumi too, but it'll be way better if you don't. Remember how I said there's some cool things you can do with halloumi? Well, this is it. Halloumi has the ability to be seared without melting, forming an incredibly delicious crust on the outside. We'll just get these into a pan with a little oil, then carefully flip them after a crust is formed after a few minutes. Beautiful. Let's get these out of the pan for now so we can start the sauce. We can use the same pan, that's totally fine. We'll just reduce our heat a little bit and make sure we've gotten any little bits that can burn out of there. Now we'll just go in with a little fresh oil and start sweating our aromatics, our garlic, ginger, and onion. Just keep your heat low and keep everything moving. We really don't want to rush this process. During a sweat, flavors and liquids slowly leach out of whatever you're cooking, help building the foundation for our sauce. These are looking great. They're just starting to caramelize, which you can tell by the color, but they aren't dry and they aren't searing in the pan. Now's the time to add our cashews, then our toasted spices, and our tomatoes and chili. Stir this around and let it cook on low heat for about 5 minutes or so. We want to give our new ingredients a chance to also infuse into the oils and liquids in the pan. The cashews will give our sauce a rich and creamy consistency, and a pleasant nutty flavor once they're blended in. Next we'll add our garam masala, a blend of many various spices, but usually cloves, cinnamon, cumin, coriander, nutmeg, among others. Now we're ready for our spinach. Just get all of it in there at once. Don't worry too much about space, it will cook down. As the spinach cooks, it will release its water, pulling up any flavor stuck to the pan. With every ingredient we add, we're slowly building up our sauce. Now we don't want to cook the spinach all that much. We just want to fully wilt down and for the stems to become tender. Once our pan is completely scoured clean, we know that all of that flavor has been incorporated. This is looking great, so I think it's time to add our coconut cream. You'll notice the color change drastically as it mixes with all those flavors we've extracted. This deep tan brown color is exactly what we're looking for at this stage. Just keep your heat low and keep stirring it until the spinach stems are nice and tender and it starts to simmer. If it's too thick, just add a splash of water or a little bit more coconut cream. This looks perfect, so I'd say it's time to blend it up. Now, you can transfer this to a standard blender, but I find using an immersion blender like this one is much quicker, easier, and less messy. We really want this sauce smooth and velvety, so blending it thoroughly is a must. Use a spatula to scrape the sides of the pot to really make sure everything's mixed in. The more we blend it, the more vibrant green the sauce will be, which is a defining feature of the dish. Alright, so now we'll just get this back onto the heat for a moment and bring it back up to temperature. We're not trying to cook it anymore here, really just warming it up to serve and adding some finishing touches. We'll adjust our seasoning, just a little salt I'd say, and I like adding a little butter for added richness, but this is optional. And then we can just add in our halloumi. If you're using paneer or tofu, you would add it here and allow it to gently warm up in the sauce. Okay, I think we're just about ready to plate up our dish. I like garnishing my palak halloumi, or palak paneer, or palak tofu with just some coriander leaves. That's cilantro, for all my New World buddies out there. And I've got some nigella seeds here too, also known as black cumin or kalanji, mostly because they look cool. But they do also have a relevant flavor profile. And then my favorite way of eating this dish is with flatbread, like this papadum, but any type of flatbread will do. You could always eat this with rice too, but I'm a big fan of textures, and this crispy papadum with the silky smooth sauce is just too good of a combination. If you've never tried this dish, you really ought to. I'm not a vegetarian or vegan by any means, but this is one of those dishes where it really doesn't matter. It's just delicious no matter what your eating habits are. If you're trying to find new ways to get more leafy greens or vegetables into your diet, well, this is a great way to do it. So there you have it. Palak halloumi, paneer, tofu, you get the idea. It's an incredible dish and it's pretty easy to make, so definitely give it a try. I'd like to thank everyone still watching to this point in the video and just for watching in general. You can help me make more videos like this by liking and subscribing, and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos. I appreciate your continued support and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And as always, thanks for watching.